Abdulaziz Omar fled Russian bombing of his home in Syria 3 years ago. 3 of his children are disabled and he has to take them to physiotherapy for their rehabilitation. But because of high fuel prices as a result of the war in Ukraine, he's finding it difficult to make that journey.
هربنا من قصف روسيا لحقنا هنا المعركة اللي صارت هلا هون بأوكرانيا وما أوكرانيا يعني واحد عقله ما يستوعب يعني كل يوم الغلاء مستمر على اليوم يوميا عم تغلى الأسعار كلها.
In many ways, Putin's war in Syria was a dress rehearsal for everything his war in Ukraine would witness. The indiscriminate bombing of civilians in hospitals, in schools, and apartment blocks. Nothing and nobody was off limits, and very little was spared. But what is different is that Syrian civilians continue to be the victims of Putin's other war in Ukraine, like Wafia, who cares for her 12 orphan grandchildren, their fathers all killed or missing in Syria's war. They have been living in these camps for 4 years, barely surviving, already finding it impossible to feed themselves. The rise in global food prices has made their situation critical.
وبدنا سكر بدنا خبز بدنا سمن بدنا زيت كله مشترى وما في ماديات اشوف بفكر بقول الصبح يا ربي دخيلك منين بدي اجيب له ناكل للاولاد وللبنات.
One reason why these bread prices have risen is because Syria relies on imported wheat.
يعني بين عشية وضحاها كان الطن الطحين انا عجيب $400 اتفقنا ثاني يوم لما كانت الحرب الروسية صار $500. 80% ما في قدرة شرائية في صعوبة بتأمين مادة الخبز.
These bakers can no longer rely on local farms as they were destroyed by the Assad regime and Russian bombardment. Even whilst on the offensive in Ukraine, Russia has continued its attacks in Syria, with rescue workers estimating that almost 70 have died and hundreds have been injured in the past few months. And it's always the most vulnerable at risk. And whilst the world's attention is on Ukraine, the UN says 6 million Syrian children, the victims of Russia's other war, are now in need of humanitarian assistance, the highest number since the conflict began more than a decade ago.